What is your favorite thing to do during family downtime?
Family downtime. I think it varies for us. Three of us in the family will like to play games, far more than one. We'll leave them nameless. I don't want to call anybody out too bad in this episode. So sometimes,
Can you give us a gender?
not mine. And so three of us will play games quite a lot. There's a lot of TV watching. Also, just getting outside too. There's some traveling. It's a good downtime.
No traveling now, so you're just walking around the neighborhood?
Yeah, neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Zoe?
Yeah, I said adult coloring books. I enjoy it. It's good. I think my wife enjoys that more than I do.
You should be okay with that.
I'm secure. I'm good.
I couldn't take a moment to really make fun of you properly during the sermon because it would have taken away from what we were doing, but Zoe, that's a flex.
I mean, you know.
I was just glad I wasn't on the stage and that my face couldn't be seen.
Thanks. Honesty, right? You're just supposed to be honest.
Hey,
it says to be transparent, right?
From the heart.
I mean, my daughters and my wife love adult coloring books, so just throwing that out there.
Hold on. I mean, I like video games.
Probably is because I always sucked at coloring, so staying between the lines was nothing.
I didn't say I was good at it.
Okay.
Oh, for us, it's board games. The pool has gotten a lot of use this week, which is insane because the water is super cold.
How warm do you think the pool is?
Oh, 70 degrees, maybe. It's
not bad.
That's warm. 70 degrees?
No, your body temperature is 90 degrees. It is not.
Whoa, 90?
98, 96.
Thank you.
I was rounding.
90.
Appreciate it.
98.
Yeah, thank you for being stickler for that. But I would say probably our favorite thing to do as a family, if we just want to spend family good time, is board games.
Board games. Favorite one?
Right now, a game called Carcassonne, which is kind of a tile building game, and you're trying to build a city. Both of you have played that game with us.
Yeah.
So it's a fun game.
That game, yeah.
It's the only board game I've played with you. So
yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
Our kids.
When you played with him, did he win?
Oh yeah, of course he did.
Yeah, I like how he chooses those games.
Wait a second, you won the second game.
No, we tied.
We tied.
I think my wife won one of them.
I mean, you came close. Yeah,
Alyssa won one of them. Yeah. 1-1. Yeah.
Can't wait till
I
it goes
didn't
to
win
my
any.
house. My house.
We have Beatrix, our middle daughter. Her favorite thing is Monopoly, and that game is terrible. It is just an atrocious game. It takes forever.
That's how you lose friendships. That's how you
break families apart.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever played? I just totally blanked on the name of it, and I hate it. You roll dice at tables. You move around. Bunko. You guys ever played Bunko?
I have not played Bunko.
I'm about to get
booed.
I'm about to get booed by some people on this. There's going to be angry faces. That game, if I play a game, I want strategy. I want the ability to manipulate the game to win. Zero chance in that game. And so, oh gosh, it drives me nuts.
The only thing I know of Bunko, I had to been 9 or 10 years old. We're at our house, and my mom's hosting Bunko for the church, and all I hear is Bunko, and it's just loud. That's the only recollection of Bunko I have. I don't even know what the game is. I just know that people yell Bunko a lot.
I just
they
know
want to.
Ladies and really enjoy playing that game. So
I'm telling you, I don't like it. So go figure.
Well, welcome to ACC Talk. My name is Dave.
I'm Rob.
I'm Zoe.
We are talking about kind of a playoff of the message from this past weekend, but we're really talking about what does this mean to be in God's family? What are some stories about that? And so the first question I have is, when was a time in your life where you really felt like being in God's family just really made a difference for you? People just really showed up for you, and what did that look like?
There's probably multiple that I can think of. I mean, it's been a blessing in many ways, but probably the one that's the most profound in my mind was I was working at a church in Fresno, and my parents were living in Fresno at the time. They still live there, but my brother was back in New York, and he got really sick. And you know me in hospitals, I'm like, poor brother's in the hospital.
I do know.
That's good.
Let's stay home.
And so my parents went, and he ended up being in ICU for about a month. and they still don't 100% know what it was. And so they went in and they ended up having to remove about 20% of one of his lungs. And I mean, it was scary, like, because they didn't know what it was, and things just kept kind of escalating on it. And there was a family in the church that basically went to the, kind of dates a little bit, Sunday school class. And that Sunday school class basically everybody pitched in, and they bought me a plane ticket because I could not afford one at the time to fly to be with my brother, and it was just amazing.
Oh, that's incredible. That's a great story. So,
yeah. So ours is not too long ago, and it's kind of it's probably more on like the financial over the course of time necessarily than one specific moment. But like the last, at least for my wife, in the last 2.5 years had been like financially really difficult, just through a number of different things that had happened. But like, there wasn't anything that was so, hey, this one thing happened and it was just insane. It was just a consistent reminder, of God's goodness in our lives, because there was multiple times where we're like, I'm not sure how this is going to happen, and there would be either someone saying, hey, I just felt like I needed to give you this, and that would be what we needed, or family saying, hey, it's just on my heart to do this, here you go, and not even us saying that we need anything, but just even in our mind thinking, man, this would be helpful, and then the people that we did life with just continue to like encourage and affirm us, knowing that they had been through something similar. And so for me, it wasn't, again, like here was this big giant thing that happened, but it was just like looking back over the 2.5 years that we really walked through a lot of that. It was just cool to see that God was doing something, and that there were so many instances where it was just kind of little stuff that happened, but made a huge impact, lasting, than when you look back on to see what he did. So
how about you, Dave?
For me, I think like the most memorable one was actually when I was super early in my faith. I had wrecked a car, and it was totaled and it was gone. It was just like, man, this is tough. And I
want to know how you did this.
That one. I'm trying
that
to think
one.
through. I had a couple wrecks in high school. Not a great track record for me.
That may change how much I let you drive.
But I remember that I had a wreck in a car, and the car was gone. We were trying to figure out. It was coming up on the holidays, and for the holidays, we always went to go see my grandmother. For the holidays, my grandfather had just passed away, and so she was the person, like, she was alone. Outside of going to church, she didn't really do anything else. Just sat in her house all day, and so it was really important for me to be able to try to go see her. And I remember there was just this week where God just really showed up, and he was using the church to do that. A car was given to me.
That's cool.
Wow.
Just incredible. So we got a car. And then I remember I worked in high school at a Sonic. And I remember I was working.
Did you roller skate?
I did not roller skate. That was a terrible idea to put me in roller skates. But I remember I was working at Sonic, and I think I was managing that night. And so one of the car hops came up to me and said, hey, there's a lady out there gave me this to give to you. And it was a card. And I opened up the card, and the card was from the librarian at my school, at my high school. And she felt like, she said, I really just felt like God wanted me to give you $100. And that was our gas money to get to go see my grandmother. And just an incredible gift. Like, she was a huge woman of faith, very influential in my faith walk as I was trying to figure out God, and just an incredible generosity of what $100, because for me, I'm at the point in my life where $100 is a lot of money, but it's not life-changing.
Yeah.
But the time that I was at in high school, like I think I was averaging $50 a week working at Sonic, and so like $100 was like life-changing.
If you were on roller skates, you would have gotten more tips. I'm just saying.
But just that idea. And then most recently, like when we moved to Florida to help plant a church, moved without a job, without an income, and we had just the people that stepped up for us to be able to allow us to do that was just an incredible gift. And the growth that we had in our relationship with God, specifically about finances, about God just really put us into this situation where we had to rely on Him for finances, and just the many times that we saw God show up through the church, through people saying, "Hey, you were on our hearts this week, and I'm going to send you $1,000," and that we needed it.
Yeah.
Like we just needed it that week, and just incredible.
Those are cool. I think too, just as you guys are talking and listening, I was like, we sometimes have like these kind of bigger stories of those times when God shows up. But I think for me, another piece as I was thinking about it is just how God has been so faithful to our family. We've moved away from family a few times. Like we moved to Colorado, and then we can move back to California, a little close to the family, and then we moved out here. And just how there's people in the church that always seem to come around as God's family to be that, like, not to replace a grandparent or an aunt and uncle, but people to come into my kids' lives especially that have just had influence in them and just encouragement for them. It's just another element of what that God's family's been for us, has been really encouraging and excited. In some ways, you hope you can be towards somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that has happened for us absolutely too. Long time. We've lived a long time away from family, and just having people just show up and make us a part of the family has just been incredible. That's just a huge part of our story. So that was when the church showed up for you. What is a story of a time where you had a moment where you got to be a part of, maybe it's a group of people, maybe it's you individually showing up for somebody else in the midst of their trials and showing up as the church?
I mean, I think there's things even in the time of being here, when Harvey hit, just watching people in our church rally, and we went and just broke into teams and went out one day to really just help different people that somebody in the church knew, and just showing up at some stranger's house because of one person's connection, and just helping them, unfortunately, haul things out of the house that were destroyed, and ripping carpet, starting to tear drywall off the walls, and just watching the church rally around that and trying to meet needs. And it was probably one of the most impressive, powerful pictures of what I think the family of God, the local church, is really supposed to be.
Yeah. This was actually this past Christmas, where we were at. There was someone that was pretty new to the church, and total life change in terms of encountering Jesus, like baptized our second week after going to the church. So God did something really cool. We had the opportunity to it was partly a church family, and had to do with people being generous, but she was in a situation where she needed to move, wasn't sure what that looked like, where she was going to go. We were able to pay for her for 2 months rent for her, and then also give her enough money to then buy gifts for her kids. And so it was really cool just to be a part of something like that. And yes, it is, the church, that would go to do something like that. But there's something cool about, even if it's just financially giving, whatever that might be, but seeing how you can use that to impact someone. And so I was fortunate to actually go show up to the place where hey, this is your leasing agents. Hey, by the way, we did this thing, and see the reaction. And so that for me, and then even we were recording her story and then said, oh, hey, by the way, we did this, here's some more, financial help. And then to see that reaction, there's just something really cool about seeing it happen, because you hear stories about it all the time, but when you actually see what that did for the person, it continues to stir this thing in you where it's man, this is what I want to be a part of all the time. If I can help someone have that kind of reaction, it might not be, I might not be able to do a huge thing, but if I can actually be a part of that, I think that's part of the reason why I think we as the church feel it's that phrase where it's always better to give than receive, because when you see that, there's something intrinsic in Christians that that's what we want to be a part of. It's something bigger than myself, and it's something beyond what I'm personally just capable of doing. But what happens when we together get to do something and to see really what it does, it was just really cool for me.
I think it's part of that that we call it God's upside down economy. You give yourself away, you actually gain in that. And just even thinking of the situations you're talking about, like Harvey, and other times where you see as a church, you rally around something, even though you might be able to look at something in your own life and be like, man, this is bad, I'm not in a good spot, how it just changes your perspective. And so even what we're going through right now, is what I love, watching yesterday, people show up here at the church, dropping off food items for the foster home. Somebody else just came by today and just, you get your mind off of what you maybe are dwelling on to something bigger than yourself. And that's what being a part of the church allows you to do, because you're part of God's family and you can be used by God. It's crazy. It seems so counter to culture, but the more you give yourself away, it's like the more you get.
And the thing that I've realized too with that is I'm just even thinking too, yesterday we got an opportunity to go, like I know in our area they were doing with I don't know if it was whole citywide, but like they were driving through, teachers were going through neighborhoods. But we got to do something, just a few of us here, and drove by for a girl that's at our church, and it was her birthday. And like just seeing it seems like it was something that was so easy, like just drove around and just honked my horn and that was it. But like the impact that it was, it's just crazy how much more of an impact it actually is than we think it might be. And just like, again, just kind of push that, hey, keep doing it, because it's going to mean more than you think it will. Yeah,
I'll even say for that situation in particular, like we got to, like going into it, I was like, oh my gosh, this feels ridiculous, and not worthy, but just did not feel like, man, is this really going to be a big deal?
When we show up in the neighborhood with like 8 cars and there's this
and
elementary
the
school with like 100
parade.
cars, it felt like in front of us, like,
But like just going around and just seeing that little girl react to seeing all these people come by for her, like just floored me. I love being a part of stuff like that, and just fills that need that we have for transcendence, for being above ourselves and making it about other people. For me personally, like I've definitely had the opportunity to be a part of some really incredible generosity things, giving cars away and being a part of that. But something that I really think about when I think about when did we get to show up for someone, was there was a couple in our lives in Illinois that they were just really struggling with their marriage. And there were a couple times where we would Sharon's mom was staying with us for a couple weeks, and I just remember this night they were just struggling. They were at the end of their rope. They were about to be done, and we were able just to go over to their house and just sit down and talk through some stuff with them. And they're still together today, and just being able to be a part of walking through something like that with somebody, and being able to say, I got to be a small part of God saving their marriage, and really awesome. Speaking life into that. That's cool. And what that means for their kids and what that means for their family. Yeah. And I think those are the moments that I think about when I get to be a part of that. And it's a huge reason of why I do what I do, like just being able to help people in community like that, and being able to show up when they're in the midst of their worst moment.
Yeah. I think as a church, obviously that's part of what we strive for. As part of our vision is that impact in generosity, but also in community, in the sense of people knowing they belong or are a part of something. And it's a little frustrating. We had some bigger plans coming into this week for Love Week, but obviously coronavirus has kind of said, hey, it's got to be a little bit different. Yeah. And but I think it's still what a cool opportunity, even to get creative, to say, God, how can I get outside of myself, even in this week, and do something to show your love very practically to somebody. Whether it's going to pretty much be a neighbor now, like it's got to be somebody pretty close.
Can't go anywhere.
Not supposed to, right? And so, just kind of working through that, I think God's going to use that, and I think we have an incredible opportunity as the church to show up in this time that can seem dark and can seem, not what it's supposed to be, and shine bright. And so, I'm excited to see maybe what people are able to do this week, even through that.
I'm so excited about it. And you were talking earlier about people showing up, like. Yesterday, when people were like bringing food by for the foster home, I was just like, man, this is because that shelter in place order came out like the same day. And so I was looking at it and I was like, we'll see where this goes. And just continually floored by the generosity of our church and their willingness to just jump in and we have a problem. Let's fix it. Let's contribute. And I love being a part of a church like that, and so it's just an incredible gift.
So we'd love to know for sure if you are doing something, if you're able to practically love on somebody, whether it's a family member, a neighbor, to let us know, even send us pictures of that, and so we can share that and celebrate it together.
Yeah, drop us a comment in the feed, the Facebook feed, and like if there's something that you've done this week, or if there's a moment where you were able to be a part of something or where the church showed up for you, just drop us a comment. Share that story with us. We would love to hear that.
No.
Well, thank you for joining us. That is ACC Talk for this week, and we hope that you guys are staying safe. And just a reminder, if this has affected you, we want to know. We want to be a part of that church showing up for you. And so if you're in a hard place, if you're having a hard time, let us know, and we will do whatever we can to figure out how to show up for you.
Yeah, and obviously this weekend we're online again. Yeah, we will be doing communion during the services, so make sure you have some supplies at home to do that.
So when you say supplies at home, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it can be as simple as crackers. It can be bread, some kind of juice. Again, some people may get really hung up on what the items are. I think it's more symbolic of what we're doing, and it's the heart and it's the attitude of worship as we come to remember what it is. But simply,
so if I get a cup of water,
a cup of water can work, and a cracker,
like
you
a
got some grape
slice
juice,
of white bread,
sure,
we're good to go.
You're good to go. Wheat would be
Okay.
better. No, I'm kidding. White's totally fine. And but again, just to be ready to participate with us.
And it's
in the
not that it's
services.
I think some people can say that you're not being reverent about communion, but I would say the act of participating is more important than
I think Scripture's
items.
really clear over and
Yeah.
over again. It's about the heart
Yeah.
more than the physical action.
Yeah.
And why did Jesus give it? It was to remember. And so if a piece of white bread and a cup of water helps you to remember in that moment, I think that's what's way more important, and that he receives the glory and the praise.
Yeah, and I really don't think that Jesus is going to be so mad that, like, hey, you're shut in, but you should have gone out and got some grape juice. I don't think that's going to happen.
Wise words from Zoe.
Thank you guys for joining us. Once again, drop that comment if God has done something incredible in your life, and we appreciate you guys being with us this week.
Have a great week.
We'll see you on Sunday.
See you guys.
Bye.